This video is about how to speak Spanish in the future. The future tense is used for two things. First, you can use it to express things that will happen with certainty in the future. The second use of the future tense is to express a conclusion or a guess. First, I'll show you how to conjugate verbs in the future tense, and then we'll worry about the uses. In the future tense, AR, ER, and IR verbs all have the same endings, which is great. But the tricky part is the ending attaches to the end of the infinitive. We've never seen that before, so let me show you an example. Here's the verb bailar in the future. You can see that the endings are attached to the end of the infinitive. We don't drop the AR, we just stick the endings right on there. The endings are as, a, hemos, eis, an. All of the forms have accents except for the nosotros form. Here's another example with the verb dar. Daré, darás, dará, daremos, daréis, and darán. And here's one more example with the verb ir. Ir is regular for once. So it goes iré, irás, irá, iremos, iréis, irán. Another great thing about the future tense is that there are no irregular endings. Every single verb in the future tense has the exact same ending. But there are a few verbs that have irregular stems. These are the verbs that are go verbs in the present tense. Let me show you. The irregular stem of hacer es ar. Decir es dir. Poner es pondre. Salir es saldre. Venir es vendre. And saber es sabre. They're much easier to say when you have an ending afterwards. But basically you just take those future tense endings and you slap them onto the end of these irregular stems. And that's how you conjugate the irregular verbs in the future tense. Here's an example with tener. Tener is a go verb because its present tense yo form is tengo. So the irregular stem is tendre. So the endings are tendré, tendrás, tendrá, tendremos, tendres, and tendrán. Here's another example with decir, whose irregular stem is dir. Diré, dirás, dirá, diremos, diréis, and dirán. So now that you're an expert in conjugating verbs in the future tense, let's look at how to use the future tense. The first use is for expressing certainty about things in the future. It's just like we use the future tense in English. We talk about something that will happen. If you're using the future tense this way, that means that you're very, very sure that that thing is going to happen. Here are some examples. Yo me graduaré de Research Triangle High School. That means I will graduate. Ella adoptará un gato. This is probably a person that really likes cats and she is definitely going to adopt one in the future. And finally, tendremos tarea hoy is we will have homework today. You can say that with certainty. The second use of the future tense is a little bit more complicated. Unfortunately, it's also the use of the future tense that you hear more often in regular Spanish speech. In other words, people who grew up speaking the language. You use the future tense to make a conclusion. In other words, expressing probability, kind of like we did with the subjunctive. And you also use the future tense when you're wondering about something. I have some examples for you that we'll go through together. ¿Qué hora será? By using the future tense, it's like you're saying, I wonder what time it is, or what time could it be? And then somebody answers you, serán las ocho. It's probably around 8 o'clock. By using the future tense, it's saying that you're making a conclusion or you're guessing. You're not totally sure. And then, ¿quién estará en casa? Who could be home? And finally, la casa tendrá muchos cuartos. The house must have a lot of rooms. That's somebody making a conclusion.